Welcome everybody back to the Friar Talk podcast and YouTube channel. So for today's video, we are doing something that one of our longtime listeners asked if we could do a little bit of like a player profile episode. We're doing a little bit differently, but question today, can Emilio Pagan bounce back? And I think this is a super, super fascinating topic because if you just look at him, you look at some of his numbers, you look at his baseball savant pages, he shows that he is a clear bounce back candidate. However, I will tell you right now, I do not have that much faith in him. I really don't. I don't know why that is. I think it's maybe just because he allows so many home runs. And if you look into the numbers, like he's consistently allowed a lot of home runs. But Chase, you want to briefly discuss, how his kind of trajectory has gone. And then we'll show the baseball savant numbers as well, because you will see something that is really, really weird. But Chase, want to just kind of briefly go over your thoughts on Emilio first before we pull up the baseball savant page?
Yeah, like I said, I just think it was the Larry Rothschild effect. We saw a few number of pitchers decline in years. Larry Rothschild has had kind of that, history of players go to him or pitchers go to him and they kind of have their worst career years. We saw it with Sonny Gray when he first went to the Yankees. We've seen it with a couple other pitchers. So, I'm just like, okay, this guy's had a track record of being really good. His year before, when he was on the Rays, he was amazing. He was one of the best relievers in the AL. Yeah, he has his home run problems. We've seen it. Even when he's pitching at his best, he always gives up that occasional home run in either the 8th or the 9th when he was trying to be the closer in 2020. Am I saying he's going to be like the top tier arm that he was with the Rays? Absolutely not. But I'm saying this guy could be a formidable setup man. He's going to get stung by the home run and the long ball. He gets hit hard when he gets hit. But if we look at his baseball savant numbers from the pitcher he used to be compared to the pitcher that he turned into under the Larry Rothschild regime, it is completely different. So you know what? Let's pop up the numbers right now.
Yeah, I'll add them on. So yeah, it is right. Okay. So you got to go to is this on 2019? Okay, yeah.
This is 2019.
Okay, you want to go through this real quick and show the changes?
This is his first year with Rothschild. Now here's his second year. Somehow it got a little better, but also a little worse at the same time. His fastball spin increased. He didn't walk as many people. His K rate was good. His expecting batting average was all right. But he got hit really hard. He got barreled up a lot. His expected ERA was really bad. He was above average in exit velocity, which is a little confusing. But yeah, it's just night and day when you look at these things. It's very confusing how a pitcher can go from being that good to this in just 2 years under a different pitching coach. So I think he's a great bounce back candidate. I think he's going to be one of those guys that surprises us this year, especially now that we have Ruben Niebla, who's been proven to come from the pitching factory that is the Cleveland Guardians. I think he's a clear bounce back candidate. Once again, I mean, we can't sleep on Emilio Pagan this year. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to prove a lot of his haters wrong, and rightfully so, because when you have a pitching coach like Larry Rothschild, we see the difference right here before our eyes. I mean, it's kind of hard to deny this.
Did his can you go back to 2019 real quick? We need to show the how bad it gets, because he has a 1 percentile in barrel percentage. He was at what, 60? Is that 61 before? And you look 61. At some of those numbers, he's 100 percentile, high 90 percentile in a lot of stuff. The fastball velocity, not crazy, nothing crazy. But he got, look, his hard hit percentile, 68%, like 68 percentile. That's pretty solid. Like, but this stuff goes down so much. It completely falls off. So, yeah, I do think that he could, like, I think he's going to be better than he was last year. Like, last year was really, really bad. I don't know if I would have faith in him pitching in the 7th inning or later, though. Like, I think that he has to be a 6th inning guy to start the year.
Absolutely not. I say 6th and maybe 7th inning. That really just depends on, how the bullpen is, who's there, what injuries we have. We have a lot of new guys, so we don't know where they're going to fit into the bullpen because, we did just sign 2 new pitchers, 2 new relievers. So, how they shake up the bullpen is going to be really interesting because Mark Melancon really wasn't supposed to be the closer last year, but he turned into it. So you never know what direction the Padres are going to go to with the closer because it doesn't seem like we have one solid man. And they might stick Pagan back in there just because he was used to that role.
Yeah, it is really interesting though. I just kind of, it's crazy how like those are bad baseball savant numbers right there. 1 percentile in barrel percentage. That is crazy. But yeah, so this is the guy. I really wonder what everyone feels on him. I think most people are going to be a lot more negative on Emilio Pagan, and I completely understand. We would get very frustrated when they put Emilio Pagan out there in the 7th and 8th inning last year. In our group chat, we'd be like, what is going on? And were we talking about it or was someone else talking about it? Did Jace Tingler mostly get fired because he kept throwing Emilio Pagan out there? Maybe he did. But it was bad at the end of the year. Also, Jasona in our comments, he had said something along the lines of like his last 10 or 11 appearances, he had a 14 ERA. So it was a brutal end of the season. If he can be somewhat what he was like in 2019 with the Rays, because he was dominant that year. He had, let's see, a 2.31 ERA, a 3.3 FIP, pitched 70 innings, 20 saves. And when the Padres acquired him, we talked about him. We thought he could potentially be a guy that could step into that closer role. Not at that moment because Kirby was there, but he never really he wasn't great in 2020, and that was a short season. But he had over a 4 ERA last year, had almost a 5 ERA. But he could definitely be a guy that goes back into sub 4, and that's pretty solid out of a reliever. Nothing insane, but he's making $2.3 million. That was what they re-signed him at. And if you have a sub 4 making $2.3 million out of the bullpen and you play a pretty large role, I think that would constitute as a bounce back season. I just don't have faith that he's going to ever get back to that A's level pitcher that he was, even with a guy that we think is going to be a great pitching coach in Ruben Niebla. Just because I think guys have figured out his fastball a little bit more. And I think that's something where you see a barrel percent now 1%, you're that bad of a pitcher in comparison to all the other guys of how guys are just, they know exactly where you're going to throw the ball. Like they know exactly where you're trying to locate and they're taking full advantage of your fastball. So you're going to have to see him make drastic adjustments if he's going to go back to those numbers. I don't think it's going to be that significant, but I don't know. What are your kind of expectations for him next year? Because I do think he's going to take a step forward, but I don't know if that means he's a full bounce back guy. Because when I say bounce back, I'm thinking he's going to bounce back to being the guy on the Rays, and I don't think he's going to be that guy. Even with Niebla, Bob Melvin, and he actually we talked about this before, but he actually did play under Bob Melvin in 2018, which I didn't realize he was an A before. But I don't know. What are your expectations heading into next year, Chase?
I'd say he'll show glimpses of when he was on the Rays, but consistently, I think he's going to be between a 3 and maybe a 3.7 ERA guy. He's going to be one of those guys that they just throw out there because he seemed to be the workhorse of the bullpen. Him and Stammen, they were always out there on the mound. They seem to find him really reliable. That may change under different management and a new pitching coach. We'll see. But I expect him to be between a 3.7 ERA, and he'll probably throw between 60 and 80 pitches this year. Not pitches, innings. So, it'll be interesting to see. But I think that's a lot for a bullpen guy. It also depends, how the lockout goes. Will the season start on time? How many games we get? That all depends too. But I do think he'll be a mid-3 ERA guy. But that's completely fine compared to what we were getting before.
Yeah, I mean that's 3.7 would be over a full run difference in his ERA. That's drastic. But I think that's going to do it for this Emilio Pagan part. However, we did want to share. We're going to be doing. It's going to be a jersey giveaway. I don't know whose jersey. We're still kind of figuring that out. Maybe if you guys want to let us know what jersey you think we should do for a giveaway, And the date that we're going to do it is going to be the day after Christmas because we have live streams every Sunday. So we'll do it like during that live stream. But we talked about this a while back, I think. And we do want to do a giveaway. So it'd be super fun to do it around, Christmas time with all the gift giving stuff, being in the season. But we want to do some type of jersey giveaway. I did go to the MLB shop and they have like only small and XLs. So I don't know how it's going to work for how we ship that stuff to you guys. That's why we're giving ourselves a little gap to figure all that out. But we are going to be doing that I guess only a couple weeks here. It's kind of crazy. So only a couple weeks here, but we wanted to do that. Wanted to announce that real quickly. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about Emilio Pagan and let us know what jersey we should do. We did think about doing Cronin God, but I don't know if everyone wants to wear a Cronin God jersey. I think that's more for the show, but yeah, so we'll talk to you guys soon, but let us know what you think about Emilio Pagan and what jersey should we be doing at the giveaway. So we'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. So Sunday, 9 a.m. See you guys then.